When people think of administrative consistency, they often picture someone laboring to make sure all the numbers add up correctly, or that the shopping list is complete. But handling simple administrative details for a customer could propel you into the next level of professional development. There's gold in the details, especially if your customer had been Philip Crosby. Phil was known around the world as a quality guru. I had known him socially for about 2 years and had enjoyed relaxed lunches with him. He was a friendly yet intense man who had taken an interest in me after hearing me make announcements at a church meeting. My first business meeting with him was to help him redesign his corporate community relations initiatives. He was already doing a lot for the community, but wanted to apply the same standards for the selection of his philanthropic recipients as he did to his other business processes. I left that meeting with great appreciation for his disciplined approach to his business. A few days later, I made a routine visit to Phil's office to pick up some documents. As I sat waiting for his assistant to finish a telephone conversation, I overheard a very important detail. "I can't give you an hour-long appointment. Mr. Crosby would not allow it. If you can't explain what you need in a few minutes, you're not prepared for the meeting." When she hung up, she reached into her desk and pulled out the file I needed. It was a simple administrative task. But as I sat next to her reading the documents, I realized I needed to ask some questions that only Phil could answer. "This might not be a good time," I said, "but I really need to ask Mr. Crosby about 3 important items missing from this file. Could you schedule 5 minutes for me to see him?" She looked at me in disbelief and said, 5 minutes? You're kidding, right?" "No," I answered. "I promise I'll be in and out in 5 minutes." She smiled, laughed a little under her breath, and gave me a 15-minute slot for the next morning. I arrived early. After greeting me, his assistant said, "Remember, only 15 minutes." I walked over to her desk and whispered, "I know. I'll only need 5. She gave me that unbelieving look again and said, "He's waiting for you. Go on in." We shook hands and sat down. I pulled off my watch and sat it up in front of myself like a monitor, handed him a printed agenda with the 3 questions on it, and began my meeting. Phil was totally focused on my questions, and he answered them in fewer than 3 minutes. I was very pleased with his responses, and as I got up to leave, I thanked him again for taking time to see me. "Wait," he said. "Is that it? Is that all you want?" "Yes, sir," I responded, "but as you can see, you're the only person who could have answered these questions." "Are you sure that's all you want? Sit down and let's talk for a few minutes." It was a golden moment that would change my life forever, and it happened because I was being faithful to complete a simple administrative task. I had just successfully customized a 5-minute interview so that I could serve the man who invented the elevator speech the way he wanted to be served. By precisely identifying my customer's requirements and respecting both his time and needs for administrative detail, I had pulled deeply on his zero defects heartstrings. "There is something," I said. "I'd like to attend your classes on quality management." He smiled and quickly picked up the phone. "We can do that," he said. In seconds, he had arranged a complete curriculum for me at the Quality College. Eventually, I became a certified instructor, and with his blessing, reached out to the nonprofit world with the message of QM. Phil became more than a friend and a customer. He was a reliable mentor who never failed to take my call or give me time to meet with him. Because he was Philip Crosby, that relationship changed my life. But all customers should be treated exactly the same way, with attention to the details they consider important. When I left that morning, I got a big smile from his assistant. She learned that she was never taking a risk putting my call through to her boss. And I learned once again that keeping the promise keeps the door open.